rental scams, which is really quite sad that this can actually happen. And it's happening more and more during the pandemic. So, Australians have lost quite a lot of money through these scams. There was some information that I actually received today about these scams, which is really quite interesting. They're saying that Australians have lost over $300,000 to rental and accommodation scams just this year, which is an increase of 76% compared to the same time last year. Now, ScamWatch, one of the websites, I think it's ScamWatch. Not quite sure. You'll have to Google ScamWatch. They've received over 560 reports on rental scams, and many of the tactics are related to COVID-19 issues. So people are using that as an issue to bring a scam in. And I mean, it's not just rentals, but we're talking property, so let's talk the rental side of the scams that are around at the moment. They target people, many of the scams target people that are looking for new accommodation. So they're offering fake rental properties to convince people into handing over money or handing over personal information. And sometimes it's about the personal information more than the property, and even more than the money from this one. They're offering reduced rents due to COVID-19, and they're using government restrictions to trick people into not having to go and look at a property physically. Obviously more prevalent it's been in Victoria than it has been in New South Wales, but still certainly New South Wales, ACT and Vic have been the biggest targets of these types of scams. And they've even been posting advertisements on some of the real estate websites and just normal online classifieds, and they're targeting people who've actually posted on social media that they're looking for a room or they're looking for somewhere to rent. And you see those all the time coming through when you're on your local sites. And, after, I guess we'll call them the victim, I was going to call them the prospective tenant, but they're not. They're a victim of these scams. They respond to the scam, and the scammer will request upfront deposit. And, they talk about it as a reservation fee in order to secure the property. And then they try and get some more personal information, in terms of a tenant application form, promising to provide keys after the payment and the form and all the information's provided. So now they have all of that information about the tenant's salaries, bank accounts, whole range of things that they've got about the victim that they can use for a whole range of other purposes. The scammer may well come up for payments for other things, for swipe cards and special access cards, and they won't actually the victim won't actually know they've been scammed until they turn up to when the keys don't turn up, or the property doesn't actually exist, or the property's actually already got somebody else living in it, which is always a bit of a shame. Some of the scammers will impersonate real estate agents and organise fake inspections of properties, and they'll somebody will arrive and say, yes, I'm interested, here's my reservation fee, here's usually saying, oh, fully refundable. Clearly not. So once a scammer has that prospective tenant's personal information, they're at risk of being targeted for other scams and theft and fraud and a whole range of things, because they've got identity documents such as passports and bank statements and pay slips and the whole gamut. And apparently it seems to be that it's the age group 24 to 35 that have reported the most scams so far in 2020. There was one example that I've read about where the scammer was impersonating a doctor living in Sweden who only offers virtual inspections and then requests bond money. Now, for all the agents who are thinking, okay, well, how does this affect us? Because we're doing the right thing and we're not scamming people. And that's great. But if you're doing virtual inspections of properties, which is great, make sure that you qualify with your prospective tenants, that you are a real person, you are a real estate agent, which they can check on the Fair Trading register on the Fair Trading website. Tell them how to go and do that. And make sure that when you're showing them through a property, you might be walking through the property, show your photo on it, tell them where your website is, tell them, and just, obviously educate people. And it's always about educating your your clients, no matter whether they're landlords, tenants, tradies, vendors, purchasers. Doesn't matter where you are on that. So making sure that you actually help your tenants through that process. Obviously, always try and get the tenant to view a property in person before they actually move into the property or before they pay any bond or any rent. So, there's lots of ways. You may have some very skeptical prospective tenants who don't want to give you ID, who don't want to give you pay slips, who don't, if people haven't rented before or haven't rented in a long time, they're not going to be up to date with the type of information that you require. So again, it's about proving to them that this is a requirement. This is how the Residential Tenancies Act requires you to behave as an agent and requires you to behave on behalf of the landlord. So a whole lot of education process in there, which is all really good.